Matthew Stafford winning at age 37 is a great story for the Old Guys Still Have It Club. He's now the oldest first-time MVP in history. And sure, his stat line looks like a grocery list for a family of 20. 4,707 yards and a league-leading 46 touchdowns. He even set a record by throwing 28 straight touchdowns without an interception. If you're playing fantasy football, Stafford is your god. But the MVP isn't the best stats on a top-tier offense award, or at least, it's not supposed to be. Enter Drake May. While Stafford was operating a finely tuned Ferrari with Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, Drake May was essentially driving a 2004 Honda Civic with a missing hubcap and somehow winning the Monaco Grand Prix. May dragged a Patriots team that won 4 games the year before all the way to a division title and a Super Bowl berth. He didn't just pass, he ran for over 450 yards and 4 scores. He led the league with a 72% completion rate. If you look at the advanced metrics, the stuff that makes scouts drool, May was the king. He had a higher passer rating, 113.5 versus Stafford's 109.2, and a significantly higher EPA, expected points added. In plain English, May was more efficient with fewer weapons. Stafford beat May by 5 points, 366 to 361. That is the narrowest margin since Manning and McNair literally had to share the trophy in 2003. The most frustrating part? 2 voters gave their first-place nods to Josh Allen and 1 went to Justin Herbert. If just one of those rogue voters had looked at May's impact on a rebuilding franchise, we'd be talking about the youngest MVP in decades instead of a Lifetime Achievement Award for Stafford. Stafford had the counting stats, but May had the value. In a league where we constantly ask who matters most to their team, the voters decided that having more touchdowns is better than being the literal heartbeat of a franchise's resurrection. But if you think that quarterback debate was heated, the Offensive Player of the Year race made it look like a friendly Sunday brunch. Let's talk about how the voters forgot that running backs actually exist. Jackson Smith-Njigba, or JSN for those of us who don't have time for 6 syllables, won Offensive Player of the Year. He was electric. He's the reason Seattle's offense didn't look like a dial-up internet connection. But can we talk about Christian McCaffrey? CMC didn't just play football this year. He conducted a symphony of pain for opposing linebackers. He had over 2,100 yards from scrimmage. He was the 49ers' leading rusher and their leading receiver. He basically functioned as the team's offensive coordinator while running a 4.440. Giving the OPOY to a wide receiver when a running back accounts for 40% of his team's total output is like giving the Employee of the Month to the guy who decorated the break room instead of the guy who actually kept the company from going bankrupt. Speaking of keeping things from falling apart, our next award goes to a guy who broke the literal record for sacks, and people are still mad about it. Myles Garrett won DPOY. Again, he had 23 sacks, which broke the NFL single-season record. On paper, this is a lock. Case closed, right? Wrong. While Myles was busy being a genetic freak in Cleveland, Will Anderson Jr. was turning the Houston Texans' defense into a localized hurricane. If you look at double team rate or pass rush win rate, Anderson was basically playing against 3 people every snap and still getting to the quarterback. Garrett is the safe choice. He's the guy the voters know. It's like picking vanilla at an ice cream shop that has salted caramel bourbon. Vanilla is great, but are we really saying it's the best thing there for the 5th year in a row? If you think the veterans had it easy, the rookie awards were an absolute fever dream of mid-market bias. Tet McMillan, T-Mac, the 6'5" human skyscraper in Carolina. He had 1,000 yards and helped Bryce Young look like a real NFL quarterback, which is a feat worthy of a Nobel Peace Prize. He won OROY with 41 first-place votes. But did we all just collectively hallucinate what Tyler Show did in New Orleans? Or Jackson Dart in New York? Quarterbacks who step in and stabilize a franchise as rookies are rarer than a humble wide receiver. McMillan caught passes. He was great at it. But Show was out there playing chess against defensive coordinators who wanted to end his career. The voters chose the shiny new toy over the guy who actually runs the machine. But hey, at least the offensive rookies didn't have to compete with a guy who wasn't even supposed to be on an NFL roster a year ago. Carson Schlesinger winning DROY is the ultimate I told you so for the Cleveland Browns. He was a walk-on at UCLA. He was drafted 33rd overall. He led all rookies in tackles. But let's be honest, Nick Emenworry in Seattle was a human heat-seeking missile, while Schlesinger was piling up tackles 10 yards downfield. Emenworry was erasing entire sides of the field. Tackles are a volume stat. It's the punt returner of defensive metrics. If your defense stays on the field forever because you can't get a stop, you're going to get a lot of tackles. Emenworry was the better player, but Schlesinger had the better story. And in the NFL honors, a good story is worth 10 interceptions. If we're talking about stories, though, nothing beats the Comeback Award, which has officially lost all meaning. Christian McCaffrey won Comeback Player of the Year. What did he come back from? Missing a chunk of 2024 with a calf/Achilles issue? Oh, the humanity. Meanwhile, Aiden Hutchinson came back from a leg injury that looked like something out of a medieval torture chamber. He didn't just come back, he finished second in the league in pressures. Joe Burrow came back from a wrist surgery that usually ends careers for musicians, let alone NFL quarterbacks. Giving CMC the Comeback Award because he was healthy and good again is like giving a comeback award to the sun for rising in the morning. We knew he was going to be good. The award should go to the guy we thought was done. And speaking of guys who people thought were done, let's talk about the coaching category, where expected wins apparently don't matter. Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year for his work with the Patriots. He took a rebuilding team and made them competitive. Cool. Great. Fine. But Dan Campbell is out here leading the Lions to the top of the NFC North with a roster built on grit, kneecaps, and caffeine. Or what about Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota? The Vikings were supposed to be in a bridge year, and O'Connell turned that bridge into a high-speed rail system. Vrabel winning feels like the voters rewarding a guy for not being Bill Belichick, rather than actually being the best coach in the league. It's a pattern, really. The voters love a narrative. They love a familiar face. And they love making us scream at our TVs. But there is one award they got so wrong, it actually defies the laws of math. Yes, you read that right. Josh McDaniels won Assistant Coach of the Year as the Patriots' offensive coordinator. The same Josh McDaniels who has been fired from more head coaching jobs than most people have had birthdays. He won because Drake May looked good. But if your quarterback is a generational talent, how much of that is coaching? And how much of that is just calling the play where the fast kid throws it to the other fast kid? Brian Flores was out here turning the Vikings defense into a specialized unit of ninjas with 0 Pro Bowlers, and he didn't even get a sniff of the trophy. Budda Baker won the Sportsmanship Award. Budda is a legend. He hits people so hard their ancestors feel it, and then he helps them up. He's a class act. But if we're talking about sportsmanship, how did we ignore the guys doing the heavy lifting in the community? This award has become the Veteran We Like Award. It's the NFL's way of saying, we don't have a trophy for coolest guy, so here, take this one. Now the big one, Bobby Wagner, a first ballot Hall of Famer and an even better human. You cannot hate Bobby Wagner. It is literally impossible. But every year, there's a player in a small market doing incredible work who gets completely overlooked because they aren't a household name. Wagner winning is great for the brand, but it feels like the NFL just keeps passing the same 5 trophies around a circle of the same 20 players.